Hello, welcome. Okay, so I've got the new pop filter and I hope the tech is going to be ready. I have a special guest with me who I'll bring on in a few minutes, but first I want to say welcome to everyone who's helping me with tech practice number 2 today. I think I have we have 6 watching, so that's me, my guest and 4 other people. If you talk to me in the chat, I hope I can see that on unauthorized too. And if you're watching in Telegram, welcome. We are now in tech practice number 2. I seem to be recording. I hope I did that right this morning. I've done a little bit more with my mic and things like that. I would very much like to hear how, if things are sketchy and it's your Wi-Fi, I can't do anything about it. It's not my fault. But hopefully we're all here. Okay, so here is my very special guest. Now I'll tell you a little bit about the group that we've been working with, and therefore why my co-host and I are going to be doing these streams. But there's a lot of people. Well, okay, small team. A number of people working behind the scenes with me, not only on getting the podcast launched, but also on our actually big major project, which is the poetry, right? And some of you may be familiar with this. It's my Dragon Common Room. I started the chat on Telegram. The channel is Fencing Bear at Prayer. The chat is Dragon Common Room. I started the chat about 2 years ago. It was sort of my COVID project, right? May 2020. I get in there and I'm like, we're going to learn to write iambic pentameter. Now, iambic pentameter. Who likes poetry? Well, nobody likes history or math either, and those are the things that we need to be studying. Iambic pentameter is both history and math, right? It's narrative and it's language in meter, right? So it's musical language. It's the practice of putting both sound and meaning together in a structure. My poets sometimes talk about it's like trying to do Sudoku with language. You're trying to fit everything. It's like puzzles. That I didn't know when we first started back in May 2020. I just knew I needed to learn how to do iambic pentameter. We've been working now together for 2 years. The team has added some new people. It's had some people stick around. 2 or 3 of us have been like doing it the whole time. We had a big team that worked on the first project, Centrism Games, which was our big Alexander Pope satire. Get a copy of Centrism Games if you really want to celebrate Dobbs v. Jackson, because we called all of it, including the baby sacrifice. And then those of you who are familiar with me from unauthorized know occasionally I show up. For example, I mean maybe once, it was so occasional. No, twice actually, with Owen. Our second big project was to write a poem for the Bears, and this we finished Centrism Games in sort of November 2020, and right around that time, Bertaria was getting started and making all of these wonderful projects of art and poetry and stories and gardening and things like that. And I said, well, we should write a fairy story for children. And, I thought that was great. And I thought it was going to be a little short thing. It turned into a full book. Some of you may be familiar with it because Hand Drawn Bear also helped us with the drawing. She did absolutely gorgeous art for us with bears. We got bears and an albatross and penguins and a griffin and an orca and a treasure hunt. And that book we published right before Christmas this past year. Although it's we're still promoting it. We're still trying to get the word out there. If you don't have a copy yet, you can go over to dragoncommonroom.com and we have all our books listed there, and also information about the big new poem that we're working on, which is called Draco Alchemicus. And I don't want to tell you too much about Draco Alchemicus yet, because Kilts and I are going to, really be giving you a lot of keys and backstory to what we're doing in that one. But for the purposes of this practice right now, you need to know that my guest, my special helper on getting our tech rehearsal tonight, is one of the poets in Dragon Common Room. And she came to me, I think she sort of surfed in on a snowboard, right? And I'm going to just have to bring her in and ask her, how did you find me? She's joined our team as one of the major poets for Dragon Common Room, and tech reasons for her to have her here. She's the one that's been helping me make all these lovely trailers. So without Mel, I would not have the intro, and I would not have that magnificent trailer that we've been showing you for Dragon Common Room. And you know, we just need to have her here. So here she is, ready to be on screen now. Have I pumped you up enough that you're actually here? You go. Okay, you're on. Say hi to the people.
Hello.
So Mel, maybe you tell them how you found me, because you got all those lovely boards in the background, and I do remember that you were posting videos about your snowboarding and such. But I think I also found you in some of the Christian chats over there in Telegram. You wanna give us a story, any story. We're just practicing.
Well, I'm a long time subscriber. I feel like I was, an initial subscriber to Unauthorized. And so through the platform, I stumbled onto Logos and history, and he kept talking about Telegram. And so I had to find out what Telegram was about. And I kind of stumbled through there more with the help of some of the bears. So here, I think I might my video on you.
You're still with us. You're still with us.
Oh.
This is like dragging your crew on stage to say, "Come on, help me." So
Yeah.
I dragged my crew on stage.
Let me know how I look, because remember, I can't.
You look lovely. You look lovely.
Okay. Um, yeah, it was through listening to Owen, getting attracted to Vox, when they started Unauthorized, exploring their channels, and then, finding Telegram.
Telegram's a wild place, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all of these different channels and chats, and I feel like it's a giant house party, right? That you're in one room, and then you meet some people in that room, and then you get out a drink and you end up in another room, and you're like, oh my god, what's going on in this room? And then half the people in that room have been there like forever, and they're like sorting out whether or not they should allow any new people in, and then other rooms are like, oh yeah, come in. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's a platform, and it's been really good for me, because it's the place where, because the chats work the way that they do in terms of like ease of conversation, but also sharing media and pictures and videos and stuff like that, links. It's really easy to make them into a writer's room, which is what I did. And you somehow
Well,
you ended up in my writer's room. How did you do that?
well, and I want to add to it, thank God we had Telegram while we did during the COVID pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
because, I keep saying, you're our doctor. You kept us sane throughout the insanity of it all.
Well, this is, yeah, that I gave a talk. I gave a like formal academic talk at a conference on Christian literature about Aurora Borealis, and my first slide for that one was, like, what I did in my COVID sabbatical. Because it happened that I was on leave. I was just finishing teaching my Tolkien course in Zoom when COVID, because of COVID, I ended up in Zoom. And then I was on leave anyway for autumn and winter, which is how we started writing Centrism games. And then, just staying with everybody through the whole 2 years of, I mean, sometimes, yeah, Kilts is not here yet because she's in Australia and she's still swimming. No, she's really in
Yeah.
Australia. And she's has been through so much of stuff that the United States never even witnessed, right? The level of lockdown and just, and protests and things like that we didn't really necessarily experience.
Yeah. And thank God to, Unauthorized Telegram for all this community we've built, as it were, that sheltered us and, kept us safe from outside.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny because Telegram has this reputation of being, the dangerous place, and we feel that we've experienced it as a refuge to be in.
Yeah. You can speak your mind.
Well, that, yes. Although, I mean, you can speak your mind and then get trolled in a variety of ways. I mean,
Truly. There's consequences
the
always.
those of you who are used to Social Galactic where it's all nice and clean, oh my goodness, you have no idea. Well, maybe it's possibly. Yeah. So, but tell Mel, tell them about tell. I mean, I've been watching Owen enough, right? Tell the people. Tell the people how you ended up being able to help me on my tech, because I think that is actually pretty cool.
Well, I am a snowboarder by trade. And so I've just kind of always been into, hashing together all my edits that, I always have a GoPro on. So then I always bring it home and just do iMovie. So, it's real basic, but, we try and put our best work into it. And so I've always just kind of been into, video editing. I used to even do it kind of back in high school for like parent, projects and stuff. But this was definitely, as you like to say, leveling up and honing our skills.
I don't know. You jumped right in, right? So I threw. I mean, it's sort of funny the way our intro video came together, right? It's like I have all these pictures, and there's like a lot of background to each of the pictures, and eventually we'll tell you about all of them. But I'm like, seeing all of these pictures, and I throw these files at Mel and say, "Here, put them in a video." And you came back with something that actually ended up being our basic structure of the sequence, right? So like you had this feeling for the way the pictures went together in the story.
Well, and you kept saying that, we wanted to construct a storyboard somehow. And it was just that was the easiest format right off the bat, whether, trying to use any other program, it was just go to a real movie storyboard and, then we can watch it.
Right. Yeah, but there is a, I mean, you have a real gift, I think, for putting together the meaning
Oh,
of the
well, thank
images.
you.
The meaning. I mean, no, come on. I've been making you re-edit that thing 16 times a day for the last month. Please fix this one. No,
Well,
that cuts too soon. No, we have to redo the music, right? It's like you've done a lot of work, and it's. I mean, we're still amateurs at everything, right? Which I'm fine with, because I'm as a teacher, I'm always at amateur level, and oh, let's try this in class, right? I love that. Um, but you've really put a lot of time into making sure that all of those transitions are right, and that the pans are correct and stuff. I bet I don't know how much work you've actually put in, because I'm just like, yeah, that's nice. Sure, it's
it's
lovely.
okay.
What do we do now?
But
Yeah, go ahead.
it's really the most excruciating part is when I go to save it. I'm just like hoping it all goes through the system. It flows onto the stream.
Well, okay, and then that adds to me like the other sense of what we've been learning about the tech, because you've been doing a lot of homework for the poetry that we've been working on. You gonna tell the people about your homework?
Where would you like me to
Oh, I
start?
don't know, wherever you'd like.
Riverrun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so okay,
Alone away.
I'll tell them how strange it is what you're doing, right? So a lot of what we're doing in Draco Alchemicus.
I'll get my book.
Okay, go get your book. A lot, because we get a lot of books, right? We're a class, right? It's the thing is, I actually started Dragon Common Room with the idea that it was like a college common room. I actually spent some of my graduate training in Cambridge, the Cambridge, not the other one, right? So it means I get to troll Milo about it when he says my college is older than yours, and I can say mine's older than yours, because I was actually, matriculated at Gonville and Keys College, and Gonville College was founded in 1348, which is older than Milo's. And in the Cambridge colleges, the Oxbridge colleges, they have common rooms where you go and hang out, right? And so the undergraduates have a junior common room, the graduate students have a middle common room. That was the one I was in. and the dons, the fellows, the professors have the senior common room, right? And so when I was trying to think about like what kind of telegram chat would I want to have, and I'd been in Milo's chat, which was its own thing. It changed names regularly. I wanted a common room. I wanted a place where we'd come together and talk about, the work that we were doing, and sort of think about things, right? Now I've rabbited off, and now I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh yes, reading. So
Riverrun.
So no,
Going with
so
the
but
flow.
it's it was meant to be this common room where we are in collegial conversation, but somewhat scholarly and artistic as well. So yeah, we do a lot of reading, and you've been doing a lot of reading. I think you are literally the only person I've ever met in my life who shows up and immediately knew James Joyce was funny.
I don't know why. I mean, it strikes me hilarious, and I mean, it's a fun read.
Yeah, so this is Mel the snowboarder shows up, and she's been listening to McLuhan lectures, which we've also been talking. Kilts and I are going to talk a lot about McLuhan because we've been doing a lot of that. And McLuhan, Marshall McLuhan, media guy, talks a lot about Joyce. He has one of his books, the one that actually gives the theme of the global village. It has marginalia that are all from Finnegan's Wake, right? I read McLuhan's book on the global village, and I skipped all the marginalia because it's Finnegan's Wake. Mel starts listening to McLuhan videos and decides she better read it. And I'm like, who does that? Right? This is what I say this is it's the magic of, well, hopefully me as a professor, but it's the magic of
Truly.
the common, the internet, right? Which McLuhan predicted. It's this kind of flowing, streaming together of all of these narratives and stories, and that we are starting to realize that actually McLuhan was right, that Joyce was in Finnegan's Wake, in effect predicting the internet.
Alone, away, alas, unloved, along the river run.
Keep reading. Do a little reading. Let's read a little bit. Read the river into the stream. How's that?
Well, I just gave it away. People might not know that first line off the bat.
Now, well, read it again then. They need to learn it.
Well, they won't grasp it to. I don't want to give it away, but I might.
You have to give the people something. We got to get them reading Joyce. How are they going to understand Draco Alchemicus if they can't read Finnegan's Wake?
You won't know this is the bitter end. Away, alone, alas, aloved, along the river run, past Eve and Adam, from swerve of shore to bend of bay, brings us by a commodious vicus of recirculation back to Hoth Castle and environs.
Keep going.
You want me to keep going? Well, it gets really crazy.
Go. Read it.
Or should I just skip to the exciting part?
No, just read the opening.
Okay, so the Hoth Castle environs. Sir Tristram, you do have to kind of go into, should I go into the character you have to see?
Mm-hmm. Now we get Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow meets the Hatter.
Yeah. Yep. This is my attempt at least. Sir Tristram Violet de Mors Frover, the short sea, had passing port re-arrived from North America on the side of scraggy isthmus of Europe Minor to wield or fight his consulate war. That one you have to see, but
I don't know. It's like the thing is, when you're reading this in your head, you're clearly getting all of those voices, and that I realized when you were saying that.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. It's like everybody thinks of. I mean, so I will say one day I'm going to get my brother on this, right? Because he's actually a Finnegan's Wake scholar, and of course I showed him Mel's notes, and he was like freaking out, going, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." that everybody thinks of Joyce and literature generally, right? It's like thinking about what we're doing with Dragon Common Room and the Iambic Pentameter, and it's like, who reads poetry? It's too hard. And I'm like, we're writing stories about bears that go on a treasure hunt and beat up seals. No, they didn't beat up these seals. They just sort of bowled them over, right? It's like we have lost our joy in our own culture, in our our Christianity, in just life, right? And it's so much of what I wanted to do. I mean, I came to Telegram with Milo, right? Because Milo got kicked off everything, and we got kicked off Facebook, and we all traveled over to Telegram with him, and Milo's and my well my it was his motto before me, and I adopted it from him, right? Which he got it from Chesterton, that Risus et Bellum, right? The laughter and war. That if we are not in joy in our adventures and our love for Christ, then we're missing the we're missing the boat. We're gonna get a lot of boat metaphors here, right? And Joyce, he grew up Catholic. In Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, there's a lot about his Catholicism and his wrestling with the faith and things like that. I think we're wrestling like Joyce did with the mythology, with the dream world, the feeling of what kind of world are we actually in, what sort of story are we in, and the way in which I'm not reading Finnegan's Wake straight. I got a guide because I'm lost, because Mel's a river guide. She knows how to go on this river. I'm like, I have no idea. I'm gonna read Anthony Burgess first. Rejoice, which is a pun in itself. R-E Joyce, like in rejoice, but also concerning Joyce. Learning that
Brilliant.
Yeah, I know. Learning that Anthony Burgess was actually the screenwriter for Jesus of Nazareth, which is Zeffirelli's great 1970s television miniseries, which was literally the two stories that I grew up with most, Jesus Christ Superstar and Jesus of Nazareth. And to find out that Burgess is a great reader of Joyce, and that Burgess sees Joyce as fundamentally funny, right? It's humor, it's joy, it's further down on that page that you were reading, Mel, that gets to the Humpty Dumpty, right? And the
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Read a little bit of that.
Do you want me to read
keep
it?
going.
Okay. Okay, here. Let me just make sure this stays up and doesn't go black on me. Do you want me to read the thunder?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I could really pronounce the Viconian thunder.
The Viconian thunder. You say that so calmly, as if everybody knows what that is. Tell them what Viconian thunder is.
Well, I mean, truthfully, I don't know that I understand. But other than it is like the pause, it's the guttural, what's the gestalt of creation, perhaps.
Okay.
Is what I grasped from it, but I could be far off.
That's lovely. I mean, so I can give, if you want, I can tell them the academic.
Yeah, like I don't have the definition in my book.
Well, that's because you're actually in the stream. You're just reading it. I'm going and getting all these footnotes and stuff. I'm incapable of simply jumping in the water. I mean, I'm so footnotey. I'm so professor. So Vico, Giambattista Vico. I hope it is Giambattista.
Oh yeah, I say it wrong, don't I?
I don't know. I think it's Vico. It's where it's Italian. He has a theory of ages of history, which is what Finnegan's Wake is actually mapped onto. There's the heroic age. There's the divine age, the heroic age, the human age, and then the recurrence. And so the myth that Finnegan's Wake is playing off of is meant to be arcing across this Viconian structure, from the divine, the sort of mythological, godlike opening, which is about half the book or half the chapters, and then the heroic, and then the human. But then what Mel did for you at the beginning there is she's read the last sentence of the book wraps into the first, right? So he's trying to show by way of the actual fragment at the beginning and end that the book itself wraps, right? You can kind of jump in anywhere. It sort of doesn't make any difference where you start or stop because it's streaming. You're in the river, right? So when you say the thunder, and that those thunders apparently come at significant points, and there's whole like academic papers written about when the Viconian thunder hits, but you were right. Your version was quicker, and that's what Joyce also does. He like compresses everything into one word, so each word is like this condensation of 18 different ideas, which is why people can write long essays on it. But they should just be writing it.
Well, and McLuhan, he was such a literary expert that he did this with any book. But just like you said, you can in this book in particular, Finnegan's Wake, you can literally open it to any page, like you said, and flow. Um, in particular, McLuhan like jumping to page 69.
Okay, I didn't know about that. Tell me about that.
There's not a lot of information about like as to why. I think it was just kind of like, it was a number that he liked to get that gestalt reaction because people, you know, it was a catchy number of his era.
Oh, he just no, because
And
I actually did. There's a guy who runs a blog that's called Page 99, and he invited me to do a thing
oh,
on my book back when it came out in 2017. And his is somebody I can't remember who it was saying you can know the whole of a book by looking at page 99. And so this guy in his blog, basically getting authors to say a little bit about their book by saying look at page 99 and see what you find there. So it's interesting.
McLuhan,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was going to say, McLuhan wouldn't say you get the whole of the book. He would say, though, that you would find out whether it's or not it is worth reading or not.
Well, let's read page 69 of Finnegan's Wake then.
Okay. I have it actually dog-eared somewhere. Right there. Okay. This one is a little bit more obscure because I think it gets more into like the, kind of the banter between the people in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
um, so now by memory inspired, turn wheel again to the hole of the wall where giant lion fronts the pin Piluniamore. There was once upon a wall, and a hoog wall. A was, and such a wall, whole did exist. Or ire, in Erlund, or you dare hares, or you digging mouses, or I would say that mosses, digging mosses, or your horde of orts and oriots. It is just strange words. Like I'm not even sure if
Oh, well, I mean, who knows how to pronounce? I mean,
oriots or
yeah, they're
garble.
like echoes of
I
all
know.
sorts of other words. Yeah.
Oriots, garble, and garthen.
We just lost you.
Here,
Oh, no, you came back.
Would you like me to continue?
Well, I'd like you to tell me what you think that's going on there. That
Well, this one, especially when he goes like that Ireland, I think he's talking about Ireland. I mean, this is like they're kind of, you know, just starting to kind of get. I mean, obviously, I'm not sure if it. I think it's HC. Right, here comes everyone.
right, the HC,
HCE.
the husband of the yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here,
The
sorry.
father of the family.
And he's the one saying this all. I think broadcasting it kind of as he's walking into the bar, and he's just kind of going on like, you know, about. I think Finnegan has already passed, but it's kind of hard to tell like when it's occurred. And but I'm assuming now because that's why everyone's at this bar.
Right.
And he's walking it. But the other thing, there's a lot of other backstory with HCE going on to up until this point. So it's also like he's already exposed himself, and like there's a lot of um, sexual impropriety that's occurred with this character. So he's just kind of bombastic, and
Mm-hmm.
you know he just appears that way, like kind of no matter where he is with pretty much everyone he encounters in this book so far.
Well, it's, I mean, when you were making, when you started reading, you said, we, in the chat, we've been talking a lot about Johnny Depp because of the trial, right? But all, and then I started watching all the pirate movies again, and carried on to watch Alice in Wonderland and some of his other character movies, and um, we were realizing that many of his characters have this sort of Joycean quality of nonsense that is in fact revelatory, um,
Yes.
and that uh, yeah, and I don't. I mean, again, there's a sort of funny thing of saying, Joyce is doing it. This high literary. He knows all these languages. He smashes them all together, but that he's actually also playing off of common folk tunes, and they're not really high myth in necessarily in the story. It's, you know, here what Earwicker is his sort of real name, because he's like all these names, right? Um,
Yeah, he has so many.
he's lots of different names because he's kind of every man, right? Here comes every man, everyone, and his
And like Egbert in the beginning.
right, and he's like the mountain or the tower, the castle, and his wife is the river. So there's a lot of like mythological level of mountain and river, and it does help. I think it does help from what I've read in Burgess and his citations of it. It helps if you know the liturgy, because there's sort of echoes of the prayers and the songs from the liturgy in it. But again, it's all sort of the way we experience Telegram, right? That what do you do with all the memes and the jostling together and the here comes someone who's, I mean, think about it. It's exactly like Telegram, right? How many times do certain people in our chat change their names? Right? And sometimes they change their profile pictures every day, and sometimes they change, sometimes others, the characters are a little more stable and they stick around with the same characters, but there's this literal fluidity that Joyce is trying to capture, because it's not really a plot. There's no plot. It's the kind of meaning that you get when you're asleep in a dream. And the Finnegan's Wake, the big sort of scholarly thing is recognize there's no apostrophe in the title, because it's not, the possessive Finnegan wake, the funeral celebration of his life. It's Finnegan's wake, so Finnegan's wake up, or is it, right? And that the reason it cycles the way that it does is because it's got dream logic, right? So it does, in fact, it's like Alice in Wonderland or Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Are you in a nightmare? Are you in a, what kind of dream are you in? And Joyce, writing this in the early 20th century, was already picking up on the way that meaning was going to be fractured like that. And here we are now living in Telegram, and fractured in all of those ways.
Well, and it makes me think of the album that by the Irish Rovers, who wrote about this song Finnegan's Wake. Um, uh, the story is that it is part of somebody's wake, because at the end all the libations fall on him. At the end everyone's drinking and they spill all their beer and whiskey or whatever and baptize Finnegan, and he wakes up.
Well, there you go.
And he has a Lazarus moment.
And there is a way that Joyce is trying to say that all of humanity needs to wake up, or do we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and you can say like fun again, Finnegan. The name always changes from all these puns.
Right. There's all these puns, and then McLuhan. One of the other things that we learned sort of looking at him is the way in which he's just doing memes all the time, right? That the McLuhan was doing memes before we had that word. Recognizing the way in which images and advertising, were giving out messages that were at odds with the text, and the way those things work together and resonate. But his books, right, his famous book, "The Medium is the Message," it's published with a typo in the title, so it comes out "The Medium is the Massage," and he's like, oh, that's fine, that's funny, because he could see the way in which these sort of accidents were meaningful. But the medium the medium is the message is full of just juxtapositions of images and text. Sometimes as meaning is as difficult to decipher as an internet meme. Um, yeah, so it's just it's interesting how we're sort of practicing the things that he was already talking about in the scholarly fashion, but then he kept losing everybody in the scholarship because he kept writing his scholarship as if it was also the experiment, which is why I like it, because I tend to experiment a lot in my own scholarship. Yeah. So
Well, and it's
yeah,
nice.
go ahead.
I was going to say it was nice just that he just always appeared to be in his writing just a general observer of the times.
Right, right. Well, he gave himself.
Hello.
Oh, you're here. You're
Oh,
here.
somebody's
Look
here.
at that, and you automatically joined. You're on. You're in stream, my dear. Which I need to rearrange my guests. Just a second. There we
Hello.
go.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, everybody can hear you.
Thank,
You're on.
Oh, thank God.
thank God, Kilts is
You are
here.
live, my dear. You are live, Kilts. You have come on. You have come on stream without even knowing it. You're in.
Hello. Hello.
Can you hear?
Hello?
We can.
Can you hear me?
You're in the stream, my dear. We can hear you. Okay, now we're doing the true tech practice, in the sense that Kilt's just joined from Australia. Can everybody? I notice that people are still in unauthorized watching.
I can't hear you. That's the problem. My headphones have decided to die.
Sorry, I couldn't mute that. I see only.
I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to do it without the headphones, guys.
Okay, well we can hear you.
Okay, well we.
Oh, and
Okay.
can you just did you just hear me then? I just heard me in your laptop. I'm making you bigger. I'm embigging you.
This is the problem. You're gonna get feedback because I'm trying to use the headphones.
That's
nothing.
That is why we're doing a tech practice. Although we're also recording now we've actually started the McLuhan things anyway, so it's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
If it's too much data that I'm on,
no.
You can eliminate.
This is me, playing with sizes of pictures. There we go. Now you're all pretty. Okay.
I think this is it.
What? What's it?
I can hear you. Yes.
You did it.
Success.
You did it.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Kilts. Welcome. The people can see you. All 9 or 10 of them. 9 are watching. Casey says she can hear and see all of you.
Hello.
Can those others of you in the unauthorized chat say hello, so we know who's watching? Since this is our debut, effectively. There we go. Okay. Well, Casey is one of our other writers in the Dragon Con room. She says, I still maintain that Joyce wrote this on a dare. Okay, good. Nibmeister, thank you for joining us. Nibmeister was in this morning helping me, and he's back again helping now. I really appreciate that. Manuel, hello. Joe Regular, hello. There's 10 people watching, and only 5 have said something. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm one of them. Right. Okay.
Oh, I'm one of them.
All right, so there's 8. Kilts, you didn't join the unauthorized chat too, did you? You're just here.
No,
okay,
I didn't.
So we got 8.
I'm just here.
Got 8.
I've opened.
I'm not in the chat.
No, well, it's unauthorized tells me how many are watching. We say 10 are watching, and one of them's me. So
and me,
and one's you. So we got 8 people. This is good. This is a seminar class. We've got level of seminar class. Okay, so I'm now going to you won't, unless you're actually watching this, you won't understand what I'm doing. But I need to switch from scene to scene to make sure that I put kilts in the right place. All right. So keep your happy faces on, because Mel, you're not going to be visible after I change this in a second. Here now we have kilts. You can just watch. Kilts and me are side by side. I need to embiggen her. It looks like Kilts. I'm going to have to go through every single one of these screens and adjust you when you join. Woo!
Ciao.
So we look nice. Okay, this is the not completely smooth thing that we should be doing off screen, not with me doing it. Whoop! There we go. I'm going to get really good at this. Okay, now we have me and picture. Okay, so I have in my tech the idea that we're often going to be talking through images, and what you see on the screen right now, 8 people in the audience, is Christ in Majesty, with the 4 evangelical animals, and we're going to be talking a lot about them. You see Christ in Majesty and the evangelical animals in our opening credits, so you know that that's one of our mysteries. And what I'm showing you here now, as I resize kilts, is these juxtapositions that I've been doing in my blog I'm often inspired by Owen and his batteries, right? Because I think we see a lot of these kind of juxtaposition of energies. The one on screen right now is my cross-dresser strong woman cross-dresser with Mr. or Mrs. Jenner, depending on your mood, and Nancy Pelosi. And Jenner is in a dress and Nancy Pelosi is in her pantsuits. Which one's which? Which one's the cross-dresser and which one's the strong woman? Right? I'm not sure we can always tell. We're back in guests.
Yeah, but you could ask me a question. Otherwise, I'm just going to babble. Why am I late? I didn't kill any more animals. Thankfully. I've killed enough animals.
Okay, now they can hear all of us.
Okay.
Oh yes, I should look at the audio. Can you hear? Can each of you speak, please?
Peter Piper picked.
Yes, and Mel, please say something. She's frozen. I realize I have to remember to check the audio. Kilt, speak.
So I did kill a wombat last week. That's the in-joke.
Speak again, please.
It was a head-on collision.
Wombat! You killed a wombat head-on?
I did.
No!
I did.
You're a wombat murderer.
Yeah. It's true.
I think you should keep talking. Tell us more about this wombat disaster. Are wombats harder?
Well,
are they easy to hit? Do they run away? I mean, do you just like plow into them like deer? Do they bound across the road and you slam into them?
Imagine if you shrunk a bear and you filled it with cement, and then you let the cement harden, and then it became reanimated.
Oh, no.
That's a wombat. So they're destroyers of worlds. Cars don't survive collisions with them. And I got this little guy head on, so it was traumatic. I've just added it to the trauma jar.
Did it explode?
Yeah.
Did the wombat explode? Or did it just fall over?
No. It was still alive for some time after the collision. Yeah. So I just I'm driving safely now around. So that's why I was late, because I was driving so safely you know, I was sticking to the speed limit strictly, and I had to obey traffic laws
Well, the
and
wombats are not. I
animals.
mean, what do you do? It's like if you swerve to miss. How when you drive like in, I don't know, Michigan around here, I
Hmm.
actually I hope I don't hit one now that I don't think I've ever hit an animal. I'm not sure, but you see, possums and raccoons and some deer, right? I always wonder what happened to the truck that hit the deer because the deer are, flung to the side and such. We have, there's a fair amount of road death.
Do you are you obligated to swerve, or can you just hit them?
I don't know. Are you supposed to swerve?
No. We're supposed to drive straight into them.
You're supposed to hit them.
Mm. As far as I know, yeah.
So as you don't run into oncoming traffic? Is that the idea?
If we swerve, yeah, exactly. So if you swerve, you make a bigger accident. So the idea is that you just take the hit and you just go straight into them.
Well, I suppose they're not as big as deer because deer, I mean, they could actually like stop your car. So,
Yes. The only dangerous animal problems that we have that are not from poisons or, you know, venom is just things that destroy cars. Oh, hello.
yeah, and so you getting the delay on the. Oh, no, you're back. You're back. Wait. Uh, okay, so Mel, you're not back in the stream. What did you do?
Ah, she's gone.
She's gone completely. Let me see if I can find her again.
Ah,
Oh, she left the call. Well, she can come back.
oh,
So it's just you and me. Okay, so I got Mel talking about Finnegan's Wake. We've broken the wake. We've
excellent.
broken the wake. Yeah,
Woohoo!
woohoo! I forbear telling them about any of the stuff that we're actually reason that we're actually doing Mosaic Ark, but we have
Okay,
now thrown the ark into the river and read some Finnegan's Wake into the stream, as it were, into the real stream, into the live stream. Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
So are we going to tell everybody why we're doing it?
Well, that's what I'm saving for when we're like actually doing it on our first true
Okay.
live stream. Although because we've been practicing properly on this one, it's nearly an hour. We've been live for 51 minutes.
Oh my God, I was that late. Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh wait, Mel came back. Let me see if I can add her again. I'm actually happy with this as worked. Hooray! Okay, you're
I was like,
you're moving
trying to
again.
go.
You're moving. Well, it'll be interesting to review the footage, right? Because I'm also recording this one, and see how this looked
Oh,
as an output. I also realized I've set up a hotkey so that we can do screenshots. So everybody smile. You ready? One, two,
oh,
three.
Oh God,
Just
no.
smile. Now we're back. I hit the wrong key. That's interesting. It's a hotkey and it goes to the mosaic out. That's not what I wanted to do. We're still streaming. I'll have to fix the hotkeys. There was no screenshot, at least as far as I know.
smile.
I can't. I can't. I can just like ordinary screenshot, but there is a way to actually capture the output. But apparently, it's also hotkeyed to my final. How did I do that? Oh, it goes. Whoops. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Ha. There we go. Okay. We have now established that Rachel's clearly practicing her tech. That is interesting. Look, you can hotkey to your scenes by first letter or number. But why doesn't it? Okay, never mind. I didn't know that it could do that. I just thought I had to like go up and down with the cursor, like this. Hello, it's just me, and hello, we're back with again my guests. Okay.
I'm staring at it.
Uh-huh.
We're back now.
Okay. Well, okay. So the main thing Mel and I have been practicing talking into the camera, which is really good because I have now lots of good evidence for how well it's worked. The delay is gonna confuse me with the yes, burning pitch. Is that an intro outro review with just the background? Yes, I have actual cool like videos that are supposed to play, but I was playing with my hotkeys, and that was supposed to be burning pitch. Oh, look, we've got actual we've got people.
Okay. Well, okay. So the main thing
You're playing me. Okay. Casey's saying I can
Oh,
only see and hear
bad.
Kilts. Yes, Casey, that was because I was moving different screens. There was one that was just her. Burning pitch. With the guest view, there's only Kilts audio. Okay. Casey, I think the wombat committed suicide. Burning pitch. Burning pitch. Was it death by honorable combat? Did the wombat combat?
Yes, the wombat died in combat.
Wombat died in combat with the car. Tor. They can jump and swerving risks losing control. Wombats can jump. Situational, but they could jump into your new path. Oh, they could jump into your path, presumably. Burning pitch. With deer in the U.S., the better course is just to hit them. I've been led to understand. Moose, on the other hand. Okay. Casey, now I just see Mel, frozen Mel on the screen. Same. Okay, we're all back now. Well, yeah, so I was changing scenes, and I was trying to take a screenshot, which should be hotkeyed to M, but unfortunately it was taking me to my final screen, my final screen. So I'm glad that we've actually had some tech fail, so that I know what I'm doing wrong. That's good. Okay, so yeah, there's 11 watching now. Everybody, so do you see all three of us right now? And now we have to wait for like 5 seconds until they hear that, and then they answer. And then we're actually, this is Kilts' experience with us in Telegram. We also, Kilts talked a lot about what it's like being on Telegram and how being on Telegram is like being in Finnegan's Wake. It's complicated. No, it makes sense. That because you live where you do on the other side of the planet, you live in the future. And
yes,
and realizing that as we're streaming, we are constantly in the future of what everybody else is seeing. So we're like, we're this is what Kilts feels like all the time.
Yes, I've been time traveling and living in 2 days at the same time for the last 2.5 years. So people are like, what? Why do you keep asking me what the date is? It's because I've completely eliminated the international date line. I don't even know what it is anymore. It's just this constant like day. It's a strange feeling. It's a very, very strange feeling, especially with the lockdowns. That just made it worse. So, without Rachel Fulton Brown, I wouldn't really have any concept of time at all.
Well, yes, we didn't explain that about the Dragon Common Room. That I went to get you guys to write the poetry. I make you show up every day. Well, weekdays.
On time. It's challenging.
It's a monastic schedule. It's like, and I called it tea time because we're in the Dragon Common Room, right? But it's like, it starts on the dot because it's digital, right? I can make you start exactly on time. And particularly when we were writing Aurora Borealis, making sure we stopped after the hour, right? It's an hour on weekdays, which for Kilts is in the morning and for us is in the evening. And it's very important if you're, writing, if you're learning to write anything, poetry or dissertations or blog posts or I don't know, letters to your mom, that you do a regular schedule and brief sessions, right? Regular brief sessions, rather than thinking, I'm going to sit down and write this all in 10 hours, right, in one go. That the writing process actually works much more. Well, it's effective because you write, concentrate really intensely, be there in your prayer moment for the hour, and then you go away, and your mind keeps working on it, right? You're still picking up ideas, and you're still thinking through the problem that you set yourself in the writing. So you kind of have to do both. You have to be regular, on time, and you have to let yourself stop and take a walk and think about something else, and collect life, right? People that spend all their time only trying to write, for example, if you're doing a dissertation, and don't let yourself live, you're not going to write anything. You'll just get burned out, and so forth. So I've also, the Dragon Common Room, we say it's like a monastic Saul meets a monastic scriptorium meets a fencing Saul meets the whatever else I said it was, and it's meant to be training us in this prayerful practice of attention and writing. Haha.
Herding cats.
It's you guys actually show up really well. I mean, to be able to, and I do get people, people on, if people are watching in Telegram and you want to know how do you get to be part of this team, well, you gotta the Draco Kimkus team is what is fixed. It's the 5 of us for the duration of this project, with our artist Zay, who we'll tell you about when we do the crowdfund. These are people that had to commit to the daily practice and really want to level up and train and say, it's not just you come in and throw verses at me and say, are they any good? I'm like, they don't scan. We've been training really, really hard and practicing. So when I'm saying Mel is reading Finnegan's Wake, this is real stream stuff, right? We've really leveled up several times. We can almost rhyme most of the time right now. Our scansion is so much better than it was when we started. Yeah.
The meter is crisp.
The meters, well, we train. Spencer is very challenging meter. We're doing Spencerian stanzas, and Spencerian stanzas, like, he never misses the beat. So we really had to train ourselves to get that meter. And if it doesn't scan, it doesn't scan. It's too bad. You can't be in love with that line, although sometimes I am. The group has to come in and say that doesn't scan, and we all go, okay, it doesn't scan. We have to fix it. That image doesn't work quite right. That is taking us away from the theme that we're trying to develop here, and really discipline each other so that we're singing together, right? And I also have that idea that it's like a choir, right? We sing together into this story. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's fantastic. There's not really any time when we're doing the writing to even worry about what somebody's criticized, because it goes so fast. I've never experienced anything like it in my life. It's like that compact 1 hour that we're all working together. The ideas are just rushing in, and we have to get them so crisp so quickly that, I think probably to anyone who saw the process for the first time that isn't used to it, they might think that we're kind of brutal with each other just because we're like, no, it's not that, bang, but there's no time to worry about anything. Either it fits or it doesn't fit. It's been a really lovely thing to develop that process with you all, because I feel like now there's just a very strong trust with each other that if it doesn't feel right, if someone doesn't like it for some reason, we'll automatically say sometimes very strongly why we don't like it. But I don't know, it works. It works somehow. Trying to explain to people how we write group poetry has been challenging. I tried to do it before I arrived late. That may or may not have been the reason why I wasn't on time.
Well, the wombat got you, but so
Exactly. Wombats is everywhere.
this
Wombats.
is I've been talking to some colleagues occasionally about, well, I actually talk to everybody about this all the time, but sometimes and they've asked me, it's like, how do you write as a group, how does it work? And I was like, well, say one, we do have a director, me, right,
Yes.
as editor, and so there's a monastic level of experience in this. You need someone who says, okay, this is the rule and we're following it, so the abbot, right? And I'm very Benedictine in my spirituality and my writing practice, that we are, I mean, as you said, we're having to trust each other. I mean, both to question it, and then to go, to say, okay, here's the question. Now we need to wrestle it out and explain it. And so that you're actually testing. We're often working in a lot of metaphors right now, and it's like refining it, right? It has to be refine it, and distill it, and figure out, okay, is this what I meant to say? No, I'm going to dig my heels in on this. No, I get why people are not picking it up. And hopefully this practice is helping us think. I mean, I think it helps me think through things that when I've obviously written by myself a lot. Our practice together helps me. One, you have to let go of you have to let go of the ego a lot in this exercise, and say, what matters is that it's right. And if somebody else figures it out and it's right, it's right. The poem's just writing itself. It's not me being proud of this, that, or the other word or phrase or something. It's like, what's right in this art. And yeah, I guess we're taking the ego out of art. That's pretty postmodern of us, or medieval. Modernist art is all about, here's my my odd little concept that I get to put my name on and be clever about. And we're saying, no, it's like a cathedral. It has to fit, and you don't, who wrote what, you don't remember in the long run.
Yeah, it's a kind of architecture.
Yes, very much, very much. So we talked. Mel and I talked a bit about it. It's this her image of the Sudoku, putting the numbers in, but it's architectural, in that it's architectural in a Gothic architecture way, that you are putting together the structure, and that's very numerically ordered and beautiful.
Learning to count. Not learning to code. It's not learn to code now. It's learn to scan.
Learn to scan. Yes. And it's there. So one of my friends, Mark Bauerlein, wrote a nice piece. I forget where it's published, but it's we're losing our education. Mark's had me on his First Things podcast a bit ago, and he's like, we're not learning English anymore. And one of the people who commented on it on Facebook said, I said iambic pentameter or bust, and someone said, oh, people can't even spell. And I'm like, Chaucer and Shakespeare couldn't spell, but they could scan. They knew what the music of the language was meant to be, and the spelling, phonemes, right? It's like Joyce can't spell, right? What he's showing you is the sound. That Finnegan's Wake is a song. It's a song. Mel was just explaining that. It's a pub song.
Beautiful.
And the Irish Rovers sing it.
Okay, now I'm going to do what we tend to do in the chat. Go, oh my God, you know the Irish Rovers? How do you know the Irish Rovers? I grew up listening to the Irish Rovers. My dad had all these albums of the Irish Rovers. They have great unicorn song.
Yes, I'm looking at the album right now. I have a ton of albums.
I don't think I knew Finnegan's Wake, but I love their unicorn song.
I really like the Irish Rovers. I think they're good and part of our heritage.
Yes, and this is, I mean, Joyce's songs, right? So in our poetry, my phone keeps falling asleep, and then I have to wake it up to look at the chat.
Well, and E. Michael Jones is a big, Irish musician,
right,
as it were.
Right. Yeah. So the music, and that's what the poetry is meant to have, that beat, that heartbeat of the music, that we're working in there. We're working in that. Yeah. Well, now our hour's up. Tea time's over. um, I think it worked, right? I got you. I got you all in. Let me do a tech chest. I'm gonna flip through the scenes again. Um, me alone. Me and Kilts side by side, and she's still there. Can you speak, Kilts?
Hello.
Yes, you're still there. Good.
Wombats beware.
Wombats be wary. You're still there. That's good. You're laughing. Okay, good, good, good. Mel, you're still there. Hello.
Me? Let learn to scan. You'll need to learn to scan.